Now on Denver 7 News, the picks are in and the NFL draft is over.
Our Denver 7 sports team is breaking down the Broncos' final day and taking a look at where the team goes from here.
While we are shutting down some of these community, large community testing sites, there's still broad availability of testing in the state.
Plus, it's about to get tougher to get a COVID test in Colorado. Why the state is closing down a third of its testing sites.
It's a long-term recovery, and whatever we can do to continue to support as they rebuild is what we're here to do.
In 4 months after the Marshall fire, the recovery effort hasn't stopped. How Denver 7 gives viewers are still stepping up to help.
Thanks so much for watching Denver 7 News at 5. I'm JACLYN Allen.
And I'm Bon Wang. Many of you are probably just watching the NFL draft, which is now officially over.
So let's get right over to Denver 7 Sports. Nick Rothschild for a look at how the Broncos did. Nick?
Yeah, the draft finished with a flurry today for the Broncos. They ended up making 7 picks, 7 dreams realized. Our Broncos insider, Troy Rank, has been out at the headquarters of the Broncos all weekend, keeping track of George Paton's various maneuvers. And he joins us now with all the information you need to know on day 3 of the draft.
Part of the charm of having a franchise quarterback is it allows the Broncos to address multiple needs, even on day 3. And it started early in the 4th round with cornerback from Pitt, Damari Mathis. He is long, he is rangy, he is fast. He also has a 43.5-inch vertical leap in case a hoops game breaks out. Then they go defensive line. They did this multiple times on Saturday, sending a message. They need better play from there. And it started with Iowa State's Enye Uwazurike. He is a guy who was very productive for the Cyclones, had 9 sacks last year. And then we go to a possible punt returner, Montrell Washington from Samford. He's quick, he's fast, he's sudden, he's slippery, and he's also tiny. Is he going to be big enough to make the transition to the NFL? Finally, they get Matt Hittington from Wisconsin late in the 7th. Here is a guy with a 4.0 GPA in the master's program. He was compared to one scout as Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. Asked about that, he said, yeah, I agree with that scouting report. Reporting from Pat Bowlen Fieldhouse, Troy Rank, Denver 7.
Well, how do you like them apples, Troy? Thanks. Well, all that was happening and 7 young men were becoming Broncos. We also had a chance to meet the 2 players the Broncos picked yesterday during rounds 2 and 3, and both guys, well, they looked the part. First up, it was Nick Casabenito, the pass rush specialist. He brings a bottomless bag of moves to this Broncos defense and says his motor is what makes him special. Then there's Greg Dulcich, and how could you not love this guy? Look at the stash. Dulcich brings blazing speed at the tight end position coming out of UCLA. And for both of these young men, the chance to join this Broncos organization is a dream come true.
You know, when I got that call, nothing else really mattered. Didn't matter where it was. I was just happy that I got the call, and now I'm with a great organization. I'm just ready to go to work for sure.
Yeah, it's been probably the best 18 hours I can remember in my life. Super special to celebrate it with my family and my number 1 support system, and to be at an organization like this, it doesn't get any better. Play with a guy like Russell Wilson, and with such history that this place has, it's an honor to be a part of.
I can't give this the credit it deserves, but someone on Twitter said that Dulcich looks like a combination of Weird Al and Aquaman. And you know what? I think he's right. We've got much more to break down with this Broncos draft. We will do that later on in sports.
All right, thank you, Nick. I can definitely see that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, starting tomorrow, you will have fewer options to get a free COVID test here in Colorado.
That's right. The state health department decided to shut down 40 testing sites across the state, saying that demand is dwindling. Denver 7's Patrick Perez explains how you can still get a test.
The closure of these 40 sites shows just how far we've come in this pandemic and where the state wants to place its priorities. I mean, just a few months ago, people were lining up for hours to get a test here at the Skyridge location in Lone Tree. Today, that line has been practically non-existent. It was only 4 months ago we saw people waiting in long lines at the COVID-19 testing site at Skyridge in Lone Tree.
It was lined up all the way around the block for I don't know how many hundreds of cars there were.
On Saturday, there was no wait and only a few cars showed up in the hour we stopped by.
Obviously, over the course of this pandemic, As cases go down, you see demand for testing go down.
This decline in demand is a reason CDPHE is closing this site and 39 others across the state. Instead, the agency wants healthcare providers to become the go-tos for testing.
Your testing in a traditional healthcare setting, including doctors and pharmacies, will allow for increased continuity of care.
At the beginning of the month, demand for PCR testing was less than 2,500 tests per day on average, which is about 5% of the state's total testing capacity. And with at-home tests, although not as accurate, becoming more easily accessible, the need to wait in a drive-thru is no longer necessary. But there are still plenty of options out there. 80 state-run sites will remain open throughout the state with a daily capacity of 26,000 tests. There are also multiple pharmacies like Walgreens and CVS still offering tests.
While we are shutting down some of these large community testing sites, there's still broad availability of testing in the state.
And you can see a map and list of all these locations on CDPHE's website, which we link to on thedenverchannel.com. Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
And let's take a closer look at all of your options right now if you want to get a COVID test in Colorado. As Patrick said very clearly, 80 state testing sites are still open. And if you have insurance, you can get tested at your doctor's office or local pharmacy. If you don't have insurance, you can still get tested at your local pharmacy, and the federal government will pay for it. Also, the federal government is still offering free at-home rapid tests. You can order those on the U.S. Postal Service's website.
The Marshall Fire Resource Center in Broomfield is closing down today. The center's been open for months, helping victims replace what they lost in the fire. Now, organizers say they're closing up shop because demand for items is steadily going down. That store is open until 7 tonight, so there's still time for those in need to stop by. And the Boulder County Long-Term Recovery Group will now take over all Marshall Fire-related donations.
And look, it's pretty obvious here, but the past few months have been difficult for families impacted by the fire. But we've seen Coloradans stepping up to help each other again and again during this time.
As Denver 7's Christian Lopez shows us, that help's still coming strong thanks to our generous Denver 7 Gives viewers.
It's still a long road to recovery for many. Like Marianne Lasky and her family, their lives changed after the Marshall Fire tore through their home and community in December of 2021.
Probably the most difficult part is really trying to get your life set up again. It's really hard to comprehend what it means to lose everything. As of December 30th, every single thing we owned fit in an SUV.
Marianne says she doesn't know where she'd be if it wasn't for all of the community's generosity.
Without the support of Superior and Louisville and the way that people have really risen to the occasion, we would be in a really even a worse spot, if that's even imaginable.
She was among dozens who stopped by a special donation event that was put on thanks to your help. Soon, all of these items will be in the hands of those who need it the most, and this is all thanks to Denver 7 Gives and Amazon, who donated $40,000 to the nonprofit A Precious Child. Our team stocked up A Precious Child's warehouse with essential items this week.
It feels that we're doing our part to support them. It's a long-term recovery, and whatever we can do to continue to support as they rebuild is what we're here to do.
We were able to get some extra bedding, we were able to get some tools, which my husband had a huge tool collection, so even just to start with a little kit is super helpful. We want to hang pictures, and frankly, we don't even have a hammer to do that right now.
The event bringing back a sense of comfort and normalcy back into the lives of so many families who lost everything.
I can't wait to take all these things home. My husband's going to be so excited when he sees the tools, and my daughter's going to be excited to have some extra bedding, so we're really grateful for all the things we picked up today.
Around 100 families stopped by to pick up items today, and the warehouse will be open every Saturday for as long as it's needed. Reporting in Broomfield, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
And if you would like to donate to our Denver 7 Gives Fund, we have made it easy. You can just scan this barcode with your phone, and you'll be brought right to the donation page so you can continue to support people in our community.
A family who lost everything in the Marshall Fire, including their 2 cats, is now bringing home 3 new furry friends. Patty Basker is a longtime foster volunteer with the Dumb Friends League. She recently heard about the Cornejo family and how they lost their cat, so she decided to step up and help. Basker got in touch with the family and said they could adopt any of her current foster kittens and that she would pay all the adoption fees. The Cornejos graciously accepted, saying the new cats will be a big help as they try to regain some normalcy.
It's just so powerful to have animals in our lives, and losing our home and all the things in it was really difficult, but definitely losing our 2 kitties was the most challenging. So to bring these kitties back in will bring us a lot of hope and joy.
My goodness, so adorable. The family adopted the 2 kittens you just saw and is bringing them home right now. They also adopted the mama cat, who they took home 2 weeks ago.
So cute. All right, all new at 5. A family of 3 is safe. I want to say that right off the bat after their truck got stuck in a Mesa County creek. Look at this. These pictures show crews working through the night to try to rescue this family. The Mesa County Sheriff's Office says they were visiting from New York, got stuck while driving across Escalante Creek last night. They were able to get out of the truck quickly, but the 2 members got stuck on the far side of the creek, couldn't get back. The sheriff says the water was about 5 feet high, moving fast, so they brought in specialized swimmers who were able to get the family back to safely and remove the truck from the water. Very glad to hear that they're okay tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. All right, coming up, we are learning more about the first American combat casualty in Ukraine.
Hear the new warning from the White House urging Americans to avoid the country. Plus, the controversial camping ban is now in effect in Aurora, why the city is unlikely to enforce it right away.
I'm meteorologist Stacey Donaldson. Beautiful conditions across Colorado in the mid-60s for afternoon highs today. We hit 65 here in Denver, which is right on track to where we should be this time of year, but that's about to change on our 7-day forecast. We even have some rain moving in. We'll talk about when coming up.